all remember what we found in the pantry when we pulled back the curtain on those Campbell's and Progresso cans and we talked about the bioengineered secrets hidden in plain sight? Well, Pam's Pop-Up Family is going deeper today, all right? So I went into my fridge, and what I found is even more disturbing because it's not on the label. There's no QR code to scan for this one, all right? I mean, we're talking about microplastics and specifically how they are literally growing inside our fresh produce. Now, before we get into how, I want to be very clear with you guys. I am not a scientist. I am not a doctor, and I am definitely not in the medical field, okay? I am just Pam, a researcher, a curious consumer, and someone who believes we have a right to know what's going into our bodies. I've spent hours digging through the newest reports from early 2026 so I could share my findings with you, all right? This is not about fear-mongering. It's about powerful knowledge, because once you know, you can choose. We can choose, all right? You can't fix a problem you don't even know existed. So let's be clear. This is about the power of information. Okay, so to understand the current scam of our food system, we have to look at the history. The word plastic actually comes from the Greek word plastikos, which means capable of being molded. All right? But here is where my research took a turn. The very first man-made plastic invented back in the 1800s was called Parkesine. When I saw that name on my screen, my heart just dropped. I immediately thought of Parkinson's disease. Now, I am not saying one causes the other. I'm not a doctor, okay? I'm not qualified to say that, but I am looking at the same 2026 research you can find online. Scientists are now sounding the alarm because nanoplastics are so small they can actually cross the blood-brain barrier. Is it a coincidence that the rise of plastic in our environment mirrors the rise in these neurological issues? I mean, it's a question worth asking, and it's why I couldn't keep this information to myself. Now you might be asking, Pam, how does a solid plastic water bottle or grocery bag actually get small enough to fit inside a carrot root? Okay, now this is the part that really blew my mind. It's a process called mechanical weathering. Now, think about what happens to a plastic bottle in the sun or in a landfill. It doesn't just disappear, okay? It becomes brittle every time it rains, every time the wind blows, or even if a tractor drives over the soil. That plastic is breaking down into millions of microscopic shreds. So, how do plastic bottles or plastic anything end up in organic carrots or organic apples or carrots? To show you that, we have to go to where food begins. It's the process called root uptake. All right? Think of these plants like a straw. They aren't just drinking up water. They're sucking up tiny plastic fibers from the soil. And you might say, well, where does the plastic come from? Well, a huge source is called biosolids, which is a fancy word for treated sewage sludge used as fertilizer. It's loaded with microfibers from our laundry, our dishwashers. The roots drink up the plastic. The roots drink it up. And the plastic becomes part of the actual cellular structure of the fruit. According to a 2026 environmental health report, apples and carrots are some of the highest ranking foods for plastic concentration because of how they grow. You can't just wash this off, people. It's in there from the root up. This is exactly why I've been spending so much time over here in my garden at the Scaredy Cat Gardener, okay? I'm not saying you have to become a full-time farmer. I'm not a full-time farmer, but knowing how to grow even just a few things in clean soil is the only way. It's the only way I've found to truly opt out of this cycle. I mean, if you want to see how I'm building plastic-free soil, I'll leave a link to that channel at the Scaredy Cat Gardener in the description below. I mean, I'd love to see you over there. But here's the kicker. Scientists are now finding that it's not just the big trash. We are literally watering our crops with plastic. When we wash our synthetic clothes, things like polyester or nylon, I mean, thousands of tiny plastic fibers go down the drain because our current water treatment plants aren't designed to catch things that small. Those fibers end up in the biosolids, that treated sewage sludge that I mentioned. It's then sold back to industrial farmers as fertilizer. I mean, we've created a perfect loop where the plastic from our laundry is ending up right back in our dinner plates. It's a cycle of contamination that most of us never even realized we were a part of. Knowledge is power, but it's what we do with that knowledge that matters. We've been worried about the labels, but we should have been worried about the soil. I mean, okay, if you think buying organic at the grocery store is the easy fix for this, you're going to want to see my next video, because the organic label scam is the next layer of this investigation, all right? If you want to go deeper and join me for one-on-one live discussions, click the join button below to become part of Pam's panel. I'd love to see you there for our private deep dives. Don't forget to like and hype this video if you want more of these deep dive specials. And hit that subscribe button to stay updated on the latest recalls and food truths. I'm Pam. This is Pam's Pop-Up, and I will see you in the next one. Share.